All right, get your pens and papers ready to take some notes because I'm going to share with you a tool that you can use for 2021 that's going to spark your motivation and keep you focused on the things that you want to actually make them happen this year. I've been wanting to teach this for so long, and I'm so excited to finally be delivering this content to you. So today we're going to make a very effective and powerful vision board. If you look up vision boards and are they effective, you're going to find mixed research. There are scholarly research studies that show that they're not, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then there's also these ultra successful people. The list is enormous. There's Tony Robbins on there, there's Oprah, there's Beyonce, there's Jack Canfield, Jim Carrey. The list goes on, and all these people who have used vision boards, still use vision boards, and cite them as reasons for why they have achieved their goals. So empirical evidence is yes, the most successful people have used them, continue to use them, and they are very effective. Why are they effective for those people, but they're showing up on research studies as being ineffective for others? I'm going to set you up so that you have the kind of vision board that the most successful people who actualize their goals use, the techniques that they use. So we're going to get into this. There's a lot to go over. First of all, I want to explain kind of the anatomy of a vision board, why it's effective. When you just have a generalized idea about where you want to go and it's all just floating in your mind space, your mind treats that as a possibility. And there's no timeline and there's no reason to make it happen. As soon as you take that concept and you, first of all, write down the goal, just people who have written goals without a vision board are much more likely to reach their goals than those who do not write it down. So just the act of transferring it from your head onto paper and your eye, watching your hand write that goal and your body being involved in creating that sends a completely different message to your brain and the way it's processed as far as that becoming a fact and a piece of data versus a floating fantasy, right? So then we take it from the paper and we put it on a vision board. We all know why, marketers know why, commercials work. You're flashed an image of like a delicious, juicy hamburger, and all of a sudden you're wanting a hamburger. You are shown images every day, and those images spark feelings and emotions, and they start making you act different. And there's research that show that people who are shown images, their behavior was charted then right afterwards doing other activities to mimic the feelings that the images kicked off. So we already know how powerful images are on our brain, and that's why marketers use them on us, and it's so effective. So let's use our own psychology for our good rather than to buy someone else's product. The other reason that goals are so effective is the whole process of visualization. Actually, while you're creating this vision board, where you're taking your goals, writing them on paper, and then transmitting them into images, is the visualization of seeing and feeling what it would be like to have that thing already. Your brain does not recognize the difference between a thought and an actual thing happen. That's why you can think about something and feel nervous and anxiety the same as if you would be doing that thing. If your brain already thinks it's happening, it believes that. So when you are visualizing these goals and these things and these dreams, your brain is actually getting the message that they're happening or that they have happened. So you're actually living in the same vibrational energy as that thing that's occurring. Athletes will pay coaches to sit down and do visualization exercises with them, and research has shown that athletes that actually visualize the whole process of the race and the competition are much more successful, and even learning skills when they took a team of basketball players and divided them up between those who just simply practiced, those who simply visualized, and those who practiced and visualized. The ones that practiced and visualized were far more successful than the ones that put in the same amount of time only practicing. The ones that visualized put in half the time practicing and half the time visualizing, and they still were more successful. I had the opportunity to sit down with a gold medalist, an Olympic gold medalist, Sonia Richards-Ross, and this was a couple years ago. And she actually paid a coach to take her through every phase of her race over and over in her mind. She visualized it. He told me, I talked to her psychologist as well, he actually could see her leg muscles firing. That's how vividly the brain believes that it's happening. So these vision boards can be super effective, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. So this is why they're effective. Again, we're taking the process of an idea or concept floating in our head, like, I should do that. I would love if this happened. This would be so cool here. One day I'm going to do this. All those things, we put them on paper, boom, we already affected the brain, and now we take that image and we're going to put it somewhere where we feel that, and our brain is already starting to believe and act as if it's happening. So that's why they work. The downfall about vision boards and the reason that studies will show they aren't work is sometimes they are fantasy boards, meaning you're putting these things on your vision board that you wish or hope or you're just daydreaming will happen, but you're not actually putting them down as expectations like, yes, this will happen. We can't be a fantasy board, meaning we're only focused on the outcome. Half of the board needs to be about the process. So for example, if we want a leaner body and that's going to go in the vision board, there should be pictures of like amazing, healthy foods that we love, like maybe a really fresh plate of vegetables and some like well-cooked protein items, or so things that are process oriented that make you excited about the process of reaching the goal. Or if you have a financial goal on there, you want to show some pictures that show someone like pushing through hard times, determination, work, not just the outcome of that. So it has to be focused on process, keeping you focused on process and keeping you focused on outcomes, so that is a reality and an expectation, not just a fantasy board. We don't want to just sit there looking at our board and wishing that that thing happens, not knowing when it's going to happen, but just wanting it. That's not the same thing. That's not effective. And that's why they don't work for some people that create them. So I want you to get in that mode as we're going to go through this, that like this is our expectation board. Like this is not just a wish board, and that should scare you and excite you a little bit as you do that. Let me get into different types of vision boards. There's all types of vision boards. It's an overused word, but you can make it very specific to one aspect of your life. So for example, when I had my fitness facility and I would teach vision boarding, that would be all related to health, fitness, weight loss, those sorts of things. So the vision board would only be for the area of health and fitness. So maybe it was to, get off medications, or to drop certain pounds, or fit in certain pant sizes, or make certain habits change in your life with your workouts, or to feel free and confident in your body, those sorts of things. And it would be all related to that. So you could make one that was only related to your finances. Maybe pictures of like a house you wanted to own, or how much you wanted to earn, or where you wanted to go with your business, or where you wanted to go with your career, or those sorts of things, or maybe pictures of your bank account, or your savings, or investments, or stocks, anything that you would have on there that would be like your vision financially. So you can keep it specific. Another area you could do a vision board is like with your family life, like ways that you'd like to experience your life with your kids, with your spouse, with your extended family, if there's areas that you want to grow in that. So again, they can be specific ones. The one I'm going to encourage you to make today is going to be a well-rounded one, and I'll tell you how to do that. And actually, I'll show you an example of mine that has a couple key areas of my life with some very concise and focused pictures, words, and phrases in each of those areas. So I have a total vision focus on that board. So those are the different types of vision boards that you can make. So now into the how. When we go through the vision board, I actually want you to get out a pen and paper, and you're going to use this list. And so you can actually take a pause here and go through this list. And I want you to pick out between 5 to 8 areas that are really important to you in this upcoming year, that you want to see some change, you want to see some growth, you want to see some exciting things happen. So pick 5 to 8 of the list that comes up. Take a pause here to go ahead and write that down. Okay, now that you've picked 5 to 8 areas that you really want to see expand in your life and grow in your life, and you've written them down on paper, now we want to pick what the goal and outcome is for each of those areas. And we're going to put a timestamp on this. So we're going to make a 5-year vision board. You can make a 1 year, you can make a lifetime one. I really recommend a 5-year one because it gives enough room for the process for some of these bigger, scarier goals that take longer, but it's not so short that we have to like cap ourselves. And it's not so long that it feels like forever till we get there. So again, you can pick 3 to 5 years is what we're going to pick for kind of the timestamp on this. I want you to go through each of those 5 to 8 areas that you picked. And I want you to put a 3 to 5 year goal and write it down. It could be, a couple lines long, but on your paper there, allow some space to really define what you want to see happen, not just in 2021, but beyond that. Okay, so you have your 5 to 8 areas picked out of what things that you want to really see expand, improve, and grow in. You have the goals defined for a 3 to 5 year time range. Now I want you to go through and just list out a couple of the process steps necessary. For example, if your health and fitness was a goal and maybe you picked that, whatever your goal was there, the outcome. Now I want you to go through and just put a couple notes there about what would the process look like to get there. Does that mean you have to go to you start lifting weights a couple times a week? Does that mean you need to start running a couple times a week? Does that mean you need to change some things in your diet? Does that mean you need more sleep? Does that mean you need to hydrate? Like, go through and make a list of the process steps that it's going to take. If you have a financial goal in there, go through, like, what do I need to do in the next couple of years? Do I need to reduce my debt? Do I need to make a budget for myself? Do I need to increase income in some area? Do I need to pick up a second job? Do we need to talk about how, we could, eliminate some excess spending that we don't really need in our life? So go through the process steps and list out what actions would be needed for you to actualize that goal in each of those 5 to 8 areas. So go ahead, take a pause, and write down process notes besides each of those goals. Okay, so we have the game plan. We picked out 5 to 8 areas that we're really excited about. We set goals, we set a timeline, and we understand the processes that are going to make these happen. And we're expecting the outcomes. We're not fantasizing, right? These are things that are going to happen. And I hope as you've done this, you've started to feel connection to those goals, like excitement, a little bit of scariness, a little bit of expansion, a little bit of possibility. Feel those feelings. Now, the next step, this is the fun part, is we want to start to look for images, words, phrases, or symbols even, that remind us of what that goal is. It could be numbers, quotes, anything. You can get them from the internet. I find that quicker to go online and maybe a couple words that I'm looking for and use images that stick out to me, that grab me emotionally, rather than flip through magazines. Some people use magazines. That's fine too. I find that much more time consuming. So go on internet or magazine, whatever you want. Find images. They have to create an emotional impact, not just like, oh, that's nice. Like if one of your goals was, vacationing, you could pick out a picture of like a nice beach, and that might be nice, but what if it was like a picture of a family like yours who is just like laughing and running into the sunset on a beach? That might have more of an emotional grab to you. So pick out the one that just like, it gets you, it moves you, makes you feel something. You have to connect the feeling of what that goal is going to produce for you. I want you to feel that already. So if the reason you want to go on vacations, using that same analogy, is because you want to feel connectedness and enjoyment and bonding with your family or your loved ones, then look for the pictures that show you that and make you feel that sense. Or if say it's you want to go on vacation because you want to feel the feeling of peace and relaxation and calm and disconnection from the busyness, look for a picture that's going to make that feeling happen in you already. So go by the feeling, go by whatever image jumps out to you that creates that feeling, and take your time searching because you want it to be one that really moves you. We're not looking for a ton of images. I would say for each of the areas, you only want maybe 2 to 4 because we don't want the vision board to be so cluttered that it's starting to overwhelm us visually when we look at it. So again, you can check out the example of my vision board. I just have a couple really concise things in each area that spark that feeling and that connection that I want to have with that goal. Okay, now that you have your images selected, we want to get the vision board itself, and I would recommend I have a black vision board. You can do one that you want to frame. You can any size or color, but I would recommend doing one a little bit bigger. You don't want to be staring at a tiny, computer-sized piece of paper for this. So get yourself some space. Then you want to cut out each of those things that you printed out or cut out, and you want to lay it on top of there, and you want to do it in a non-cluttered and organized way. So as your eye travels to each part of the board, you're having a sense of connection and a focus on this area, and you've got those 3 or 4 or 5 words or images that just, they're hitting with you, they're resonating with you. And then your eye moves to the next section, So put some space in between the areas so it's not cluttered, it's clear, it's standing out to you. Go ahead and lay them out. You might find out when you lay things out that you actually need to resize some things and reprint them. Take the time to do that because we want it to look pretty, we want it to look aesthetic, we want it to move us when we hang it up there. For your vision board, you can even go, if you like, art and you want to put it somewhere, very visible, you could even frame it and hang it somewhere. Like you can make this however you want it. So go ahead, lay that out, get a really nice, clear, organized presentation. Okay, so now that you have done all of that, let's talk about where to put it. You want to put it somewhere that you will see multiple times a day. Again, you want to think about marketing, why it's effective, because multiple times we are showing the image until it conjures up enough feeling for us to go take action. and go on to eat that food or buy that product or whatever. We have to see it multiple times. And marketers know that. So let's use that psychology on ourselves. We want to put it somewhere where it's going to stick out to us and we're going to notice it multiple times a day. Once you hang it there, frame it there, put it there, however, again, it needs to look good to you. So take your time in that step before to really make it aesthetic. Then here's how you want to use it. At least once a day, if not twice, you want to take some time, I would say at least 3 minutes, and just stand or sit and look at it. Mine is on the wall at the edge of my bed. So I have the ability to do that in the morning and at night as I wake up to just really focus on that. And you want to just take your time and breathe into it and let your eye travel through and really feel each part of that. And that is so powerful. You are setting your brain just like the coordinates of a huge ship. You're setting that every morning. These are my goals. This is my focus. This is what I want. Then it allows you to make all your decisions subconsciously as that sits into your programming and you know exactly where you're going and what you're working for. It allows you to start to make all of your decisions from that inner guidance. It's not so confusing anymore. If an opportunity comes up and instantly your brain knows what direction you're moving, you can say yes or no and feel really good about it because you have direction, you have guidance, you very clearly focused. So we want to take that time, 3 to 5 minutes, to sit there at least once a day, twice is even better, and let your eye move through the vision board and let yourself feel each goal as if it's happening. We're not going to sit and wish at it or fantasize about it happening. We're actually going to feel ourselves experiencing that thing already and imagining that it's clear. One thing that has worked for really successful people who do this is when your brain starts to get focused on something, it is so powerful. It will start to kick off solutions. They'll just pop out of the air. You will see ways to get what you want because now it's very clear and it's being repeatedly exposed to your brain. So I remember a great story of Jack Canfield, who's the Chicken Soup of the Soul author. He had a vision board. On it he had written a check to himself for a certain amount, and he just was focused on that. He didn't know how it was going to happen at first, but as his brain started to focus on it one day in the shower, he got this idea like, oh, you know what? I wrote this book a couple years and I never did anything with it. What if I sold, let me see, if I sold 1,000 copies at this much money, I actually would make the amount on my check. So and I won't conclude the story. It's a really great story how that all happened because action steps were involved, but the action stemmed out of a very clear focus, not just a fantasy, but a very clear, he actually wrote it on a check, like a very clear focus of wanting to make that happen, expecting that to happen. And then his brain just over the next couple of weeks just started to look for solutions, look for ways that he could even more make that become a reality. So I hope this was helpful. I totally love to see your vision board. If you would send that to me, you can look below for my contact information. I would love to see what you created. If you want any feedback or any suggestions or help with it, please reach out. I'm here as a resource. And again, you're welcome to use mine for reference. And I wish you all the best. Set yourself up for success to manifest the things that mean the most to you, to move forward in your goals in a way that you've never done before by using this powerful tool.